mechanic to provide knowledgeable for the control machine, used for driving the fishing boat provided by the standards of the Marine Department. The objective of the project is to raise the ship's cruise engineers department to the mechanic to develop and to be effective, knowledgeable, and skilled, while able to understand the responsibilities in the operation, and to be in control performing maintenance and repair work of all the equipment on the boat. One is to be knowledgeable in the rescue equipment, to achieve security in life, property, and reduce the impact on the environment. The target of this project was to shipping cruise engineer department, entrepreneurs and fishing boats, or those interested in engineer department of fishing boats. The result is expected to reduce the shortage of ship crews and the mechanic of the fishing boats, and the shortage of ship's cruise engineer department, also to improve the knowledge and the ability to control machines as well. The rules and regulations. Number 1. Regulations and rules for inspection on boats, methods and conditions of issuing warrants. Inspection certificate of fishing boats to be effective of the date of the 30th of December in 2016. Number 2. Regulations concerning examinations of subject in fishing boats. In 2016 was effective for the date of 30th of December 2016. Hello, I'm Commander Anucha Sakuna, Ship Surveyor, Ship Standard Bureau, Marine Department. The purpose of the videotapes followed in accordance with the course of the fishing vessel's engine of commerce, to comply with the ship's survey regulations, rules, procedures, and conditions for issuing the certificate of inspection for fishing vessels was to be announced in the Royal Thai Government Gazette dated on December the 14th in 2016. Also, in accordance with the Marine Department regulations about the knowledge of the user of the fishing vessels in 2016, which was announced in the Royal Thai Government Gazette dated December 15th, 2016. Those who get through training from and have an exam that has defined the standard criteria. They are then deemed to have passed the training course regarding the use of motorboats and equipment. The topics that were given are about mechanical, electrical, and other general subjects. I want to introduce to you my ship surveyor from Ship Standard Bureau, Marine Department, who will give you knowledge in the various subjects. Standing on my left side, Mr. Chitsuna Sukanawatana, and on my right side, Mr. Suratet Detka John Rita, and Mr. Tinit Limwatana will be the narrator to educate you from here. The officer of the ship, surveyor, and I will get on this boat to describe the device-powered machinery, electrical machines, and equipment of the fishing vessel. The name of the vessel is the Yodrak. Today, Mr. Somai, the Chief Engineer of Yodrak Fishing Vessel. will introduce the course of the assistant machinist to you. We will practice in the engine compartment. We will allow Mr. Somai to show you what to do. With the main engines, auxiliary machinery, and other equipment of the engine. Let's start with how to investigate and maintain the engine. To propel the main engine. To start the main engine, we need to check the cooling system level, fuel level, and the lubricant level of the main engine. Once you start up the main engine, you will need to watch the temperature on the cooling system. The gas waste and the temperature system of the main engine. The temperature in the main engine is kept stable by fresh water coolant or the G water cooling. The temperature you get from the fuel will turn into fuel oil, help start the main engine. Lube oil plays an important role as well. As a lubricant creates temperature, it will help you see the temperature level. When the main engine is running for quite a bit, you will need to test for pressure. In the cooling system, fresh water, fuel, and the water coolant. When the engine is running for another term, you will have to check pipeline in the system of the fuel, fresh water, and the cooling for a leak. For the temperature of the air inlet, we need to check the turbo. Before you prepare the engine, you must make sure the oil levels of the turbo is normal. In this case, before starting the main engine. All thrusts and crankcases need to be checked before starting the engine to see if there are any leaks. Electrical systems that are used to start the yacht fishing vessel main engine. Start by using the starter system, which requires a 12-volt battery. You will need 2 batteries for it to come out as 24 volt. Because the starter system can load up to 24 volt to start the engine. Meanwhile, before preparing to start the main engine, we must verify the oil in the gearboxes. Once you have started up the gear shaft and propeller, we just need to check the power of the oil pressure in the gearbox casting and oil temperature in the gearbox as well. We are down into the belly of the vessel, and then you can see the main engines. You'll notice that the chief engineer is mounting bolts into the thrust to verify that they are secure. And this chief engineer is checking whether it is in good condition, firmly in and not loose. And now the chief engineer is checking the mechanical clamping of the bolts in the rig gear. Now the checking of the oil level of the oil tank to see whether it is up to threshold level. To inspection the pipe, check the leakage points, seeing the condition of the pipes. To check the fuel level, open the valve for the fuel oil usage. Do the water pump belt monitoring system for the main engine. Check the oil pressure and temperature on the main engine. Check that the pressure and the temperature are in accordance with the standard of the main engine. This is how we check the main engine and the temperature of the waste gas in the main engine. Now we will go into the section of mechanical observations or the operation of the engine. The engine or machine will be divided into two major types. There are 2-stroke and 4-stroke engines. Let's look at how the 2-stroke engine works. The 2-stroke engine is designed differently from the 4-stroke engine. A four-stroke engine, its intake valves and exhaust valves are used as mechanisms to send alternative between intake and exhaust. But the two-stroke engines are designed to have the intake and exhaust in the cylinder, which channel will be turned on or off in the movement of the piston. The piston acts as a valve to the body. Suction and compression strokes as a piston stroke from the bottom dead center up to the top center. During this movement, on top of the piston, the air is intaked. Meanwhile, the exhaust will automatically close with a plunger. At the same time, when the piston is higher than the air intake, this causes the air intake to automatically flow into the crankcase as well. In this case, there is pressure and release. As the piston moves up to the top dead center, the spark from the plug detonate to push the piston to the bottom dead center again. During this time, the downward movement of the piston closes the high air intake channel entrance. And the top of the piston will pass out of the exhaust channel, causing waste gases to pass out. At the same time, the top of the piston is freeing the channel flow of accounts coming from the crankshaft into the room instead. And this is how the two-stroke engine works. Now, let's look at the work of a four-stroke engine. Here we will be talking about gasoline engine and diesel engine, which is a four-stroke engine. In each round, the work of the four-stroke engine, the piston moving up and down 4 times, surrounding the crankshaft, rotate 2 rounds. The piston up and down 4 times in the stroke causes four-stroke work. And the four-stroke engine works as follows. First stroke is to suction the intake stroke. When the piston starts to move up and down, it causes a mixture of fuel and air. The diesel engine will suck the air alone and will be sucked into the cylinder through an intake valve which is open. And the intake valve closes at the end of the exhaust stroke closer to the bottom dead center. The second stroke is the compression stroke. As the piston starts moving up, the intake valve and exhaust valves will close. The mixture of fuel and air. Diesel engine, it uses only air. The air will be compressed until being ignited near the top dead center. In the case of a diesel, fuel is injected into the nozzle. The combustion is caused by piston compression in the combustion chamber volume. When the piston moves down, it causes the air to heat up. In the diesel engine, oil spray will inject automatically. At this point, air and fuel are compressed to mix. As a power stroke or rhythm explodes, the piston moves down while the two valves are both closed. The pressure of the gas from the waste burning has an impact on the cylinder head or piston. Push the piston down until close to the bottom dead center. The exhaust valve then opens. When the piston starts to move up, the exhaust gas is pushed to the left in the cylinder outside through the open exhaust valve. Exhaust valve will remain open until the piston slowly moves to the top dead center. And then the increase in the sucking in the cycle. Track 239. As I've mentioned earlier, we will further give you details of how we are going to check the engine. And to check the oil level measurement. Engine oil is vital to a good engine, because it not only reduces wear and lubricates, but it also serves several parallel, such as thermal protection against rust, corrosion, and so much more. Therefore, you should use a good quality engine oil and a proper dosage. Another thing is the way to measure the level of residual fuel oil that is left over in the fuel tank or bunker. In each tank are as follows. Firstly, measure the oil level and temperature from the drip tank to calculate the volume. Secondly, for the automatic meter installation tank for the auto gauge, you can see the levels and the temperature from the monitor or from the control room. The oil indicator format. Step 1. A cannonball is measured from the bottom of the tank to the water level, and to test the gap of the oil. Step 2. Read from the side of the water tank. Beside the tank will install a pipe, which is a side glass, can see a level clearly. Step 3. The auto gauge, as mentioned earlier. The volume of your fuel will get its measured value compared with the capacity and schedule of the tank, which called tank calibrate table. And if there's water in the tank, then perform a drain runoff, because the water in the tank will endanger the combustion in the engine. Check the oil casting, cooling water, and boiler in the water tank reserve. In the coolant system or the engine cooling system, when the water in the cooling system reaches the boiling point, water will result in expanding the volume increased from the original amount. And if the heat occurs, if the temperature is higher than the boiling point of 90 to 100 degrees, the water becomes vapor. Therefore, the tank cap is important to help reduce the pressure of water vapor that occurs in the cooling system. So the pressure is decreasing. If the lid does not close completely, or having water pressure resist the spring on the radiator cap to loosen, this may cause water and steam to flow into the reserve water tank, and the steam will distribute the flow from the system to the outside world. The volume of water in the radiator or coolant decreases when the engine cools down. Towards the air filter system, the air which went into the engine. Checking the engine, air filter, or checking the air filter to the engine, and turbocharger. Air filters trap dust and dirt and prevent it from entering into the engine. But to use the air filters for a long time, it can cause clogged up air filter, causing less airflow into the cylinder. Makes the combustion engine to not work as it should. The air filter, which is used commonly in dried air filters, normally should be changed the air filter more if in an area with a lot of dust. If the air filter is dirty, you may recognize it through 1. The symptoms showing that the air filter is dirty. 2. The engine is failing. 3. Smoky emissions are black. 4. Engine vibrating. 5. Fuel increasing. Next in the topic, check the fine set belt cooling water pump in the cooling system. The circulating water from air to the coolant or radiator flow back into the engine. The work of the pump will rely on the belt from the engine rotation and bearing support in rotation. When the pump does not work, the first reason is the belt break causing the belt pump not to rotate. When the pump is not rotating, not flowing from cooling water system to take the heat out of the machine. Another cause is to wear and tear or crack of gunshots, causing the pump to shut down or not to rotate or swivel sideways. Causing the other parts of the engine to damage as well. Part of the problem that frequently encounters the water pump is a leaky water pump. To check the pump, you first start up the pump, then speed up the engine, and obviously you will see leakage of water. But if there is no motorized water, it will not leak. See the pump leak. Most often occurs in the area of sealing spindle of the water flowing out of the front. And out of the ventilation holes. How to care and maintain. One should check the belt whether it is working condition. The belt should be replaced within the usage within the hour. Second, when the pump makes noise, the bearing liner should immediately be changed. Third, check the bearing of the water pump. Do the whole upper and lower rotor rocking forward and backwards. If the blade moves, show that the bearing of the pump liner needs to be changed. But if the water pump has no blades, hold the flywheel. Sometimes the seal of the water pump is leaking. or bearing makes noises, they should change the water pump. Next is to check the leakage of the pipe, the engine and the system of the engine. Filtering of the oil system, filter of the fuel system, freshwater cooling system filters. Check the leakage of the crankcase around the engine room. We try not to have leakage of the system mentioned above. The following is in the portion of the anchor bolts. Check pads and thrust. Check the screwing nuts and the condition of the rubber thrust. The rubber machine docks properly that you must have as an intermediary to help absorb vibrations to the smallest engine. Therefore, the rubber thrust must be strong enough. Now we are learning about the motor, the starter motor, and how it works. The engine system charges causes the initial rotation of the crankshaft to achieve the performance of the engine. According to the mechanical property, is deeply compressed by blow spit. There are two types of starter motor, the direct drive type and the pinion recompense type. Starter motors consist of two main parts, including one part of the motor and two parts of the ignition or solenoid magnet. The starter motor has two types of engines. One, circuit used with a standard gear. Two, the circuit model with automatic gear. Starter motor controlled by using the ST lamp pole, which is the ignition switch. Next, check the condition of the signal and alarm after starting the engine. Check whether there are flammable or output pressure oil system, fresh water, fuel, and the engine inlet air are in good condition, because if you hear an alarm, you need to verify in the system. As a pressure oil pump, freshwater fishing or fuel pump may have or are residual. It will have reminded us the alarm. To check the temperature of the gas in each cylinder after main engine power runs for a while. The engine will be loaded and then check the temperature of the waste gases to see whether the temperature is normal or not. Checking the temperature of the waste gas. Will tell us whether the loading condition from the machines are regular. Example, main engine or engines may contain waste gas temperatures higher than the value that is defined. It will say that the machines are too loaded. The term overloaded is used. Should reduce the cycle of the main engine or reducing the speed of the ship or other symptoms which are noticed. For example, while the wave wind, the blades will emerge from the surface of the water, causing the engine to overspeed, which leads to overheating. The The heat of the waste gas then is high, which means we need to reduce the cycle of the machine to reduce the speed of the boat. Reducing the overspeed tip reduces the damage of the main engine to keep sailing ship safely. Check oil temperature to determine if normal. If the oil temperature is too high, it will cause the oil to perform with lower qualifications, such as checking the coolant system, oil temperature, good oil quality will prevent oxidation, wearing protection, and prevent rust. High compressive strength, good drainage, and spread the dirt with alkaline values. Let's see what we need to do to check the coolant temperature. To check this, there are freshwater temperatures casting machines. When the water temperatures cast the heat from the fire or engine, it will raise in temperature. We will do a casting or pumping coolant system into the casting machine in the large coolers. Coolant system including the reduction of the temperature of the main engine and reducing the temperature of the oil tube. Because the main engine may need to have oil cooler and freshwater cooler, as the freshwater system is a closed system. Therefore, we use the water from outside of the hull by suctioning it through the sea sheave to cast off the heat. Fresh water is used to quench the heat and will go into the cooler. Then we take in the water from the outside the hull, which is in the seawater or freshwater outside the vessel, suction through sea sheave as cast off the heat from freshwater and oil cooling, for it to go in and reduce the temperature of the large machine once again. Freshwater goes into the mold machine and is there to lubricate and cool off the large machinery. We need to cast water in the cooling dispenser to help reduce the temperature. To check the fuel pressure, currently we check the oil to see if the fuel pressure is low. If it is malfunctions, this may adversely affect many things, such as engine temperatures falling and the combustion temperature being higher than normal. Can cause the piston to knock down easily. In case the fuel pressure is very low, this may cause the starter not to be able to start, because it's a waste compression too. But if the fuel pressure is higher than normal, it is disadvantageous as well. The fuel pump is working hard and the system load is higher than normal, decreasing the lifespan. Therefore, utilization rates, fuel consumption will be higher than usual. Part of checking pressure in the cooling system. 1. The water in the reservoir is too low. The water level in the tank should be inspected daily. Note whether the water is in the tank is lower. If water level drops lower than the requirement, it should also meet the required laid down account. When the water in the tanks is missing, you must tell the chief to find the cause and to make corrections. Two, belt slack or the increased heat causes cooling not to be able to cause the heat properly. We need to change the belt. Maybe the belt slack or lack in the process of the cooling system. 3. Rust blockage in pipes and tanks. Finding rust in the cooling pipe base capture cylinder. The water pump impeller, the blades crack causing coolant water to lower quality of recirculation, causing the heat in the engine to increase. 4. Air leaking into the cooling system. The flow of water is not good. 5. Turbo start or the turning off on switch does not work. 6. Sewage tank or rust creating by byproducts in the wastewater tanks filled with water does not flow. It heats up until temperatures rise, causing water to evaporate from the tanks. 7-cylinder leak gasket causes the water in the coolant system cylinders to flow into the combustion system, causing the engine to heat up. Results in the engine heating up and the temperature of the air rising, which is dangerous. 8. The stroke ignition delay. Some mixture if the intake air is thin, which causes the engine to overheat. Since the ignition timing is wrong, the waste heat from the gas valve does not flow with the rhythm. Heat accumulation. As part of checking the oil pressure. It's a danger sign. If you do not check the oil pump, it will not pass the filter, which when using until the oil increases, the condense will increase until peak of viscosity. To the point of viscosity, and it is hard to pass through the filter. Coupled with the silt lining in the bottom of the filter cause stuffed blockage and dreamy part or full stationary. The pressure of the engine oil is falling. Thin or transparent oils differ depending on whether the same grade. Thin or transparent oil. According to the defined temperature varies. 3. So what brands of engine oil? If the pressure falls since it is not hot, giving a good acceleration voltage, it still does not move, then consider whether the quality is not good. The gear blocks leak check. In this section, this is the transmission drive machine. Because some boats do use the system test around the machine to make it through the gear block to drive the machinery. Check the leakage of the gear block, measuring the level of the oil and casting gear. Monitoring the work. If detect an anomaly, you must notify the engineer or your guard. About the leak of the fastgate propeller shaft, check in the transmission. That is leaking from unusual water. If found that the cooling water shaft's there too. It should be configured properly and not to leak too much. Then inform the engineer or the guard in case you can't fix it. In this section of the battery, it can be seen that the ship is charging the battery. Leave the lid open and do the serial line connection. The battery has a power of 12 volts. Do the serial line connection, then you will get 24 volt power. You will need 24 volt power to start up the main engine because the starter motor can load up to 24 volts. We must check whether the deterioration is up to standard by using a hydrometer, measuring spectrum of the distilled water in the battery in the inferential. In the part of care and check the batteries, what do we do? Number 1, check water distilled in the battery or battery added distilled water. Check up and distilled water. If the acid reduced, should add distilled water. Do not use water or any water types other than distilled water, because this will cause the battery power to decrease and shorten its lifespan. Number 2. Check the generality of the battery to see if it's in order, with no cracks. Take care of the battery terminals. Batteries will need to be tightened. And if you see wax around a pole, rinse with hot salt water. Sanding with sandpaper or a wire brush and then apply grease on the battery terminals. Or put a sheet protector, especially the battery or rechargeable battery water. The ready-to-use battery or dry batteries are more susceptible to salt and wax stain. Use a hydrometer to measure the specific gravity of acidity in the battery in each terminal. Must be equally addictive, measuring approximately 1.265 after full charge time. The capacity of the battery will decrease gradually after use. The heat makes battery deteriorate faster. Charging with high current causes your battery to heat and drain faster. Charging the battery with less stream heat will lessen the degradation of the battery, but it will take longer to charge. In the section of the power connection, in order to use it, we will see what power connections we have. In example, we see the serial and parallel type, which is a serial type applied a higher voltage of 24 volts, but with the flow will remain the same in the 12-volt battery. But for the parallel type, the pressure connections stay the same, but the current rise. Means we brought it to power usage, but that the battery will run out faster. The use of a supply, we need more. The battery terminal, we will look at the key features of the integrated serial to parallel circuit. And the circuit combination. We will first look at the serial. Number 1, electric currents will flow through the same, but with the same direction throughout the cycle. Number 2, the total resistance of the circuit is equal to the sum of the resistance in each. Together in the circuit. Number 3, the dropout voltage parts of the cycle, when taken together, then will equal to the voltage at the origin. This is a serial circuit. C. Parallel. Parallel circuit, a circuit per the resistance of electrical equipment, various electrical appliances. Each bracket with the origin of the circuit, then the jumper patterns. This will cause the flow of electric current. The sum of the currents that pay out will be equal to the sum of the currents flowing in each section of the circuit and the voltage dropout of the electrical equipment. All are equal, although electrical appliances, they are not equal. See the circuit's combination. The circuit is a circuit that introduced the serial method. And how come together is connected in parallel to the same circuit, which can be classified according to the nature of it. Number 1, mixed circuit serial connection with a parallel circuit is leading electrical appliances or load to connectivity. As a serial first and then brought to parallel once again attached to it. Number 2, mixed circuits in parallel, bringing electrical appliances serial or parallel to load first. And then serial once again. Key features of mixing cycle, bringing the features of cyclic properties of series and parallel circuits together. This means that if the serial features seeker. Serial position into consideration, whether connected in parallel. It's to bring into consideration the parallel circuit in the monitor of the generator or generators. In this case, we will discuss electricity generators and the generator. Before using the generator, should do the following. Number 1, familiarize yourself with the work by studying the manual for control devices, because the generator can be set to both manual and automatic systems. Study the position of all the valves working and the equipment to shut in until it is understood. Number 2, have an understanding of the generator fuel and lubrication. Number 3, check the water tank or preserver tanks. They must be full of water and a radiator capped. Is not defective. The hose pipes are in good condition. Number 4, the measurement of engine lubricant level must be in a definite level. Number 5, check that the fuel has sufficient volume and the quality is sufficient or not. For machine use, especially when the control system is located in the automatic position. Number 6, check the battery charge system of the electrical machine. Number 7, check the battery's distilled water level. It must never be dry. The power cable of the battery terminals must be clean and strong. Number 8, check for the water, oil, and fuel leaks from the engine. If found, leak test, correct, or run services from a professional. Or inform the guard or ship chief officer. Number 9, check the belt tension. Belt must not be slack or too tight. By pressing the distance between the center of the lobe rotors with the tube lobe of the charger. Press weight approximately 10 kilograms. Set belt tension approximately 11 to 13 millimeters. Depending on the operating conditions, the belt should not be too slack, as this can cause a problem to the formation of the engine, which are diesel engines. High temperatures and the charge of the rechargeable battery is too low. If the conveyor belt is too tight, it makes a fuel lobe degeneration in the early. Number 10, check the impeller, ventilation, or cooling water monitoring. Must be in the condition that is not broken. If it is a cooler, there should be no leaks in the coolant system. Number 11, the monitoring group sensor circuit breaker must be in good condition. Different power cord connectors firmly strong. Number 12, commissioning generators without power. And check the voltage is in the normal setting, which is about 220 volts or 3-phase power. 380 volts measured by the timeline with the neutrons. Number 13, check the electrical frequency in the normal threshold at 50 to 52 Hz. Number 14, check that the engine oil pressure is normal and use pressure gauges. Avoid running the engine without oil pressure level under. Engine running at normal. Oil pressure must not be lower than level. That it will not result in the malfunction of the engine. When lightly starting up the machine, approximately 800 RPM. The pressure of the oil is at 10 psi. When running the engine, have it set at 1500 RPM. It depends on the engine of how many RPM it can run per round. It is located at 40 psi for the engines that do 1500 RPM. Number 15, check the temperature of the engine. Temperature gauges must remain at normal levels. Cooling water temperature should not exceed 95 degrees Celsius. Sections of the generator should be performed as follows. Number 1, check that the voltage is in the specific range. Number 2, check the electrical frequency is at its normal limit. Number 3, check the electrical current is in the use of the load, must not exceed the strength of the generator. Number 4, check oil pressure of the engine from the meter, see whether it is normal. Number 5, check the temperature of the engine from the meter, see whether it's normal or not. Number 6, observe and listen for the sound caused by disorders of the engine and generator. Number 7, check the work of safety control. Number 8, should not open or close payload circuit breaker if unnecessary. Number 9, if sparks of ignition or burning smell, smoke coming from the engine, inform your guard or inform the chief engineer. Number 10, should have someone taking control of the engine while it's in use at all times. Avoid running the oil pressure engine while the oil pressure is lower than the level casting criteria. Number 1, check the leak area of the cooling system, leak area of casting oil. Clean out dust or debris that is stuck in the radiator tank. Number 2, after using the cooling system, which we used as a cooler, if the cooler is plugged, make sure to prod the cooler. If you do not use the boiler system, which has a honeycomb radiator to help cool the air, just as the ship uses water to help chase hot air out through a cooler. Number 3, check the joint dispatch services. Number 4, check the connection wires. Number 5, clean air filters in the turbocharger system or the burning system, which requires a clean air filter. Number 6, check for the fracture in the belt worn down by the impeller and various belts. Number 7, clean the engine controller. Number 8, check the water distilled in the batter following precise requirements. Number 9, get the moisture out of the fuel filter every week. It is to drain the water out from the waste fuel filter. Sometimes we pump water into the service tank by pumping from the set tank. We need to drain the waste water. Sometimes it could become condensed from the condenser in the tank. Service tank, we just need to drain the water. In order to reduce the ignition of the engine and reduce the damage to the engine, Number 10, check or write down fuel consumption. Make notes of the bunker's hold. Whether in the engine's working hour per day is how much energy consumption. Behind me is the rudder. It's a hydraulic system machine. There is a motor to the hydraulic pump working in order for the hydraulic oil pressure to move the rudder. When the steering gear directs the rudder to turn right or to the left. Before starting the hydraulic motor pump system, check the system first to make sure there's no leaking point in the pipeline system. After starting the hydraulic motor pump system, check the system again to make sure there's no leaking point in the pipeline system. This boat is controlled by a hydraulic motor with an oil pump. But the smaller fishing boats may use rope or chain belts around the steering gear to control the rudder. This can be another way to check the steering gear or the rudder to see whether hydraulic pipes has any leak through the cylinders. come to the part of the holding the rudder stock. In order to maintain and extend the lifespan, we need to check the oil levels of the hydraulic rudder. Check the leakage of the hydraulic oil system of oil support or machine rudder. The inspection work of the motor, which is to drive the hydraulic pump. Because of the dirt and solid particles such as scrap metal, or small pieces, as well as moisture and air emissions mixed in. Hydraulic oil systems can cause wear, corrosion of the gas station and hydraulic, which is why it is found often. Therefore, should be cleaned regularly. In the hydraulic oil system. Number 1. To flush and clean system of the hydraulic oil in the hydraulic oil system. Or after removing the maintenance, there may be some metal or rust splinters, as well as the dust and sand to get stuck in the system. Number 2. Be careful about the cleanliness of the oil by looking at the container and suction pump tank to stay clean. In addition to cleaning the oil filter system or when changing the filter. Damaged or when the wash filter should notice the dirt attached to the filter. If scrap metal shows that the system has wear and the type of dirt. May be used as guidelines for the analysis of cause of the damage and will be the prevention for the next time. Number 3, keep monitoring the work of the hydraulic system as well as abnormal noise. This may indicate a leak of air conditioning and the joint or seal, the air in the house or the foam pump. Problems that are usually found in the hydraulic oil system. Hydraulic oil systems can work efficiently or effectively only when the pump is complete. Hydraulic pump is the key to the drive to the hydraulic system. A chance to wear easily. Users should consider these factors on the lifetime of the pump are as follows. The kind of hydraulic oil should be used to suit the type and design of the hydraulic pump, such as will not react to corrosive parts. Hydraulic seal oil or the oil mixture to prevent the wear of zinc is unsuitable for the pump. Metal parts with silver, gold, and bronze for some categories. Corrosion, etc. The condition of the hydraulic oil of the important renewal applications. If there is a mingling of pump water, dust, and remnants of the ice will make the pump wear faster. Now we are down to the engine compartment. In this course of the mechanic helper, we will see that before we can make a start or start the main engine or use a steering gear, we need to check the bilge water in the engine compartment and verify it, that it needs to be pumped out. If there are traces of oil or sewage, we won't be able to pump it out of the boat. If found the bilge water has mixed, with oil, it must be pumped into containers, stored, and discarded on shore. The next section is arbor shaft, which must be checked in the booth propeller shaft as any leakage of water into the hull. which causes an increase in bilge. Therefore, we need to check the equipment. Other equipment such as life jackets, fire equipment, life-saving devices. For emergencies such as hull leakage, sunken ship, we need to see what life-saving devices we have. For example, if the boat is on fire, then we have fire extinguishers. If the ship sinks, we have life jackets to protect ourselves. However, you must wait for the orders from the captain or a supervisor. If you are unable to salvage the ship, abandon the ship. If a fire occurs, we must immediately inform the engine compartment of the fire and then inform the commander or boss in order to mobilize teams to help put out the fire or stay protected from the fire in the airlocked engine compartment. To put out the fire, use the fire CO2 extinguisher tank. In the section of the generators. Behind it will be the control room, which displays the kilowatt the generator can withstand and hertz of the frequency generator. Checking the generator section. When the power blender, we must check on the main engine. Inspection of the cooling system, lubrication system, air systems, and fuel system. Before you start the machine, we just need to check if the engine oil meets the standard level or not. Before you start, you need to see if the battery terminals are available or if they are not. For the generator section, startup complete. Just need to start checking the pressure temperature, the pressure of the lubricant, and the system's pressure's oil. Fuel oil, freshwater system, air systems, machine casting. Check the air temperature entering the machine. Check out the freshwater temperature casting machine and check the fuel temperature. Check the temperature of the oil in the electric blender. Remaking generator. We come to see that when a dynamo drive an electric generator and paid into the rear control panel to see if there is any power. We must see whether the frequency is in hertz and if within the correct range. Must be in the range of 50 to 52 hertz. As for kilowatt, we also see how much the dynamo product power. Ready to load to a different system and the system used to drive the hull to the motor pump. Check again that the power supply is correct, no system crashes. And check the lights on each motor prior to the start of each. And check to see if the ground system with power down ground is working. Before you start, before you supply power to the motor and its use in the lighting system. Whether it's in sailing system, navigate a boat, cruise in the lighting system. It will control the entire boat, causing the maximum safety. check in the network that we want to check. Before we make a start machine big or starter generator. We need to check what time we went down in the area in the control room, or in the area that we will go to work. We need to arrange or customize. Living space is appropriate to be consistent in our work. We must take care and check the area lest we see it. Number 1, check the level. Belly boat water levels. If the water belly boat level oil contamination. It may not be strictly off the boat or pumped up. It may be stored in the storage tank or slop tank. And the unloading at the port of landing, a deal for oil or water vessels that stomach. Oil contamination. Number 2, clean inside the machine room when an oil stain, dirt on the floor, or other large machines. We must also assist machine cleaning, slip or fall, and to ensure security. Time machine released when an oil stain we just cleaned successfully and painted a pipe, for example in the various pipe chase timeline. We should be classifying cost-effective color. Freshwater pipes, for example, should be still painted blue. Fuel should be painted red. Indicative characteristics to marine water pipes is green. Oil pipes are painted yellow. Belly boat water pipe systems are painted black. Machinery and equipment, the wall of the room as appropriate. Do not expose the machine to or provide solid light when open fire, to ensure security in the area and there's sufficient light in the room. Place your things in an orderly fashion. Avoid obstructing aisles and fire escape routes. To prevent the danger in such a way to prevent tripping or falling. In an emergency, there needs to be an efficient escape route. If a fire occurs, a channel of escape is required. It will result in a danger to ourselves to maneuver around obstacles. Prepare the device for security purposes provided. For if the ship encounters events such as fire, we should also have a fire extinguisher, or we will grab a life jacket in the event we will require one. If we are taking a boat or a ship into water, we just need to grab a life jacket to be prepared. Ready to wear when various events occur on the vessel. Storage, tools, and spare parts of the machines are helpful. It must be organized, not to be placed anywhere in the maintenance period, but in one specific location, as this may cause an accident. Safety equipment in the machine. What is it with safety caps? Gloves, goggles, we work with in many manners, requires us to use this equipment to prevent accidents and help reduce accidents that may be caused to us. As a part of the cooling machine in the cooling system of the fishing boats. Used to reduce the temperature of the items, they may include marine product, marine aquarium. Let's see how in a cooling system that is implemented and how. The cooling system on the fishing boat is very important to maintain the quality of the fish caught from the sea, to preserve, as well as to transportation to customer to consumer. A small fishing boat or fishing boats out of fishing grounds in the Thai territorial waters, or Miramar, which is the fisheries in no time. It is not popular to install refrigeration on the ship, but to use the ice itself. Aquatic animals instead, but for large fishing boats to do offshore fisheries. To use the fishing period longer than 1 month needs to install. The cooling system on board the ship by installed as an appropriate for applications such as Percy Scene boat to cooler for pickled fish, the trawler needed. There is a freezer room and the temperature is minus 30 degrees Celsius to minus 35 degrees Celsius. To make a solid fish, the temperature in the fish must not be less than 18 degrees Celsius. They must have a storage room or room temperature. Cold storage is minus 20 degrees Celsius up to minus 25 degrees Celsius. To keep the frozen fish and to collect food products from the sea through hardening. The fishing boat is mainly used the open compressor type, called open type reciprocating or piston compressor. The motor and compressor are kept separate from each other because it is more convenient to maintenance, repair, or to save the parts that are needed and to prepare on the boat. But there are some fishing ships selection of compressor type semi-hermetic screw application, but not very many because of the initial startup cost. Let's look at the parts of the compressor used on ships and the compressed liquid layer single state. 2. Compressed liquid and 2-state must be chosen to suit the application. The condenser on board shelves tube condenser because it can use salt water. Heat, don't use cooling tower like general factory on the shore. But the condenser on board must be marine type because it is corrosion resistant of the sea. Let's get in refrigeration system compressor liquid layer single state. Compressed liquid and 2-stage are principal differences. Number 1, compressed liquid layer single state is suitable for room temperatures from minus 25 degrees Celsius. By using the compressor, such as a Blister version, 4G, 4G.2 or 6G.2 or 6S.2, etc. The principles in working it is when the compressor is sucking the hot vapor through its pipe, through the cooling coil, and into the transmission pipe pot trap oil or oil separator. The pot trap oil goes to the condenser to separate oil from the water vapor, then sends it back to the compressor oil to lubricate the compressor. The oil trap will prevent and hold the pipe from rusting. The solution will then take the oil flow back into the compressor system, which the hot vapor will be compressed in, condenser and the cooling waters are out, until it becomes liquid and the flowing through a filter that absorbs moisture and filter impurities out. Engine oil and cleaning liquid will be pushed to the expansion valve, which will have holes. Small adjustable valves let evaporation through its evaporator coils until all the liquid has been evaporated. The liquid is sucked through the suction accumulator and then into the compressor and then released. The compressor liquid is in the second stage is best used in the freezer rooms. Operating temperatures from -25°C will go down. The compressor model S6G.2 or blister like S6F.2, etc. works the same as one single floor cleaner's compression state, but becomes the compressor start compressing while the pressure is still low, making single extrusion not to give enough pressure, causing the liquid to heat and give not enough pressure from hot vapor to transform back into liquid and reuse it. That's why it has to be compressed again, which is the second stage. And for the liquid to refine and can use it again in the compressor. But because the pressure starting up each time can cause it to heat, means the second startup can be heated, and the heat will harm the compressor. It is necessary to have an expansion valve injected into the vapor mix when compressed at one stage to prevent vapor compression stage, the second before it gets too hot or too dry. At the same time, to prevent the liquid injection coming in should the condition of liquid be mixed with plate heat exchange. The heated liquid is distributed to the evaporator expansion valve caused the liquid in the evaporator cleaner to subcool, causing cool air to be able to surround the engine. In the accumulator section, the accumulator works as a separate pending liquid. The liquid pending in the accumulator and evaporates slowly. The liquid flood back into the compressor will flow to the compressor, which may be ruined. Expansion valve portions function normally, not necessarily to adjust to the stiffness of the springs. The size of the expansion valve with the size of the compressor is already selected. To loosen the expansion valve, to release more fluids will flow and more cooling. It will drop temperatures lower than in the room where its hot assistant is. The expansion valve is made to dispense the cleaners, which lowers the temperature of the evaporator. Make the room temperature decrease and the compressor will be lowered. Usually do this when the room temperature is still cold and not up to the operating level. In the engine room of either main engine or electrical engine, the pipe must be insulated to prevent waste gas temperature. If, in the case of ship in which gas pipes that were not insulated, when the fuel occurs, leakage or broken gas pipes damaged, eject on the waste gas pipes. It will fire up and damage will occur. Ways to check the generator and electric blender. Check systems for leaks, check the fuel, and check the engine oil level. Checking cooling system for leaks. The cooling system of the yacht fishing vessel. Behind this is a refrigeration using motor drive compressor in order to compress the liquid. The main purpose is the refrigeration of the ship. In order to reduce the temperature of storage space products, the main product is fish. For example, some dock boats may require ice storage to reduce the temperature. But for this ship, to lower the temperature in storage area is used. We see that the mechanic and guard will have to help take care of the mechanical and maintenance. Assistant mechanic might need to help check the leak in the high temperature, low temperature. High temp is in the temperature of the oil casting. Compressor must not stay too high. And it seems that the compressor strength of liquid during the high temp with low temp must not exceed the value of the spec cooling of each model. This is determined in the standard of each model. This is to check the cooling. Check the leakage of various pipes. Check the motor systems work well. Check if the compressor is normal condition. The inspection of the compressed liquid in high pressure and low pressure. And the temperature of the oil casting. This is a check work of the refrigeration system of goods. Next post, we will come to know the life raft equipment, protective devices, and relief disaster if the incident occurs in the fishing vessel. The device also includes a life raft, life jackets, fire extinguishers, and a bunch of signal flares or fireworks. So when an accident or incident with a fishing boat, we can use them properly. Like a life jacket, which has many together. Life jackets are required on fishing vessels. Must be a life jacket that has been certified. From the Ship Standard Bureau, Marine Department, this has many together. First type of life jacket is used for fishing boats, which you will wear over your head and over your shoulders. This is how you wear it. The second type is a life jacket that you'll put on full length. How to wear a life jacket full length. The third type is a life jacket vest. How to wear a life jacket vest. Pull to inflate with gas. If it does not work, blow air into the jacket. Signal flares or fireworks. We have to look at the expiration date on the device according to the manufacturer's requirements. Upon expiration, we need to change the signal flares. Fire extinguishers. We notice that the device is still valid by looking at the gauge pressure. If the needle of the pressure gauge is in the green zone, we are able to use it. First, pull the pin. Lifeboat or life jacket. Life jacket is a standard safety equipment, the most indispensable device for traveling on water. We must meet the standard provided by the Marine Department. Life jackets which are approved in accordance with the Marine Department must have a buoyant force, which will need to be able to lift the user and turn around face up. Head above water while floating in the water, while the color of the life jacket will be convenient to search and rescue. Life jackets must be noticeable. The Marine Department then requires life jackets are to be in orange or neon orange only, which is in accordance to the international standards. In addition, a standard life jacket must have a bar color reflection to help in the search at night and to see at a distance. The Marine Department forces users to install reflective strips on clothing, the total area of not less than 100 square centimeters, and to have passed the international certification according to the requirements of the IMO only. Certified life jackets are to have labels 10 centimeters wide and 10 centimeters long. Label imprinted or embroidered to make it clear and durable, to show the number of information of the Marine Department approval. In addition, the wearer must follow the steps to wear the life jacket properly. When wearing the life jacket, user must be sure to lock the straps tightly and in place. Then pull the straps to tighten and put on properly. This is a steel boat named Rainbow, which we will investigate. Typical external conditions are both wooden and steel. For this Rainbow ship is a cargo ship made of steel. The main hull is made with steel, which is a large ship. This is a common condition. Well, we will introduce you to the state of the captain, which is in the isolated area. There is an NGA maritime equipment, the radio, GPS, radar, and the MS. The GPS will state one's position on the Earth. The GPS stands as Global Positioning System, which consists of three main parts. The first part consists of three network satellite camps. The USA, Russia, Europe. The second part is in the cockpit, which consists of a ground station. The station is Falcon Big Air Force Base America and Control Center of 5 points, scattered in various regions around the world. The third part is to the user. The user must have the receiver, which can get a satellite waves and deduced to be processed by the satellite. This is suitable to be used in various forms. GPS works by receiving the signal from each satellite. This contains information by satellite positioning and the time while transmitting. The receiver GPS will need to process the time difference in reception compared with the real time at present to translate the distance between the receiver and the satellite. Each one has stated its position with the signal above. The final element is the position of each satellite signal from the Sun is to the GPS receiver by the orbit of the satellite. It has been scheduled in advance. When it is sent up into space, the control station will be checking the trajectory of the satellite all the time and review its accuracy. Later, another device in the bridge or control room of the boat is the walkie-talkie, which is important. This equipment is necessary for fishing boats, which is for communication between ships and boats and between land and sea. The case of emergency to ask for help. The radio used on fishing boats at present, which are very popular. Probably is the main radio used at present. The other system is marine system bandwidth, which is universal network used worldwide. A large cargo ship would use this in the marine system band following the regulations. According to the rules of the examination of the 2017 fishing boats. All fishing boats of any size need to install a radio. This is a picture of the radio. Hello. Now we can take a look at the boats on repair on the beam board. Usually, fishing boats would have to make repairs annually. In case of a leaky or damaged, the lead ship up repair, we took a boat made and examined the boat, bilge cleaner and scrub the barnacles. After the barnacles scrubbed have been and the hull has been cleaned, a sterile and old and damaged is removed and then rolled up to do a new color. Usually, the boat will have a regular upkeep for the safety of the ship. It can be seen that when they unmatch, then it is must check the line of the tree awl. When it is fixed, then clean the barnacles to keep the ships clean. The groove here needs to be taken off. And you can see that the important one is the bilge, which holds the weight of the boat. In case of having a damaged bilge, the ship may split in half because the bilge is in bad condition. Now we can take a look at the boat's up repair on the beam board. Now we can take a look at checking the neatness of the bowl made. That the keel is bending deformation of the ship. As you can see where the water wings that are still in good condition. Check the zinc nodes. This is how a sterile stamping to repair the leak. While the boat is on the beam board, checking every area is very important. Seeing the condition of the hull if it collapses, the bending of the boat belly. This is the blade arbor trunk. It has to be removed and fixed. This is the rudder, which has not yet been disassembled to repair, which one must check if the rudder, disinformation or turning point. The subject of the blades, which made the repair and disassembled. It must check the zinc corrosion resistant set based on point in the image to prevent wear of the steel. It can be seen that the zinc corrosion resistant has been ruined. When repair it, you must replace it only. This is a point that will be installed at one point, corrosion resistant zinc on the right hand side of this boat. This is the point at which the second and third spots. It can be seen that all 3 points has already been worn and needs to be replaced. Another important device is the weather-raising coolant system engine and machinery. It can be seen that we must also examine how cleaning wash removes blockage. It must see that this clogged, it requires cleaning. I gotta do that again. Plane right side will have 1 point, and this is the second point. This character is very important, which is not clogged. If it is clogged, it will absorb water, which will moisten the motor system. Another important one is the chrome grab boat keel together. This device or this piece is important in preventing boat frame. 2. The limit of this may not be very large compared to the hull, then. Some ships may be larger depending on the suitability of each shape. That will be important, said that it is to protect the ship's odyssey. This is a condition where the body is incapable of clocking grout joint to the leak very successfully. Paint the ship above the water successfully, the names written in code of fishing boats. This product is a corrosion-resistant zinc, which needs to be replaced when the ship is under repair. To replace the old defective, must be examined the whole trunk that has many options to repair or to make. Blade is a vital component to those propelling the boat's movement. Because the machine is outside the hull, is corrosive environment. and there's also a chance that it will conflict with the object underwater. Therefore, the repair must be done regularly, and why the repairs are always required. Knowledge about the machine. One front is pushing water or thrust that is sent to the side behind the blade while installed in the ship. As the surface of the blade at the same end of the machine. When the throttle is pulled, the front of the boat will rise from the to front side or water absorbing suction on the front of the machine while installed in the ship. When the ship forward, front suction pressure will be less. The repairs of the machines are divided into two levels. One, the repair made, small or minor repairs, such as a damage to the finishing of the machine, like to slightly bend the small surface crack. Two, major repair is a large bend. They might be bending forward or back. Large cracks were found deep in the machinery, or the cracks penetrated through the pad. This kind of blade, which is a key component in the driving of the boat. We just need to check the surface of the blade. Note the cracks and the breaks in the machine. Then look and see if the hub of the blade has cracks or not. Here is a step-by-step procedure to change damaged body panels. It would have a to trim panels fit pad is defective. Then it will be nailed sterile drugs to muffle concept leaked. Then it will have to do the nut stopper color footprint concept as seen here. There is a screw to fasten it firmly to the vessel hull plates. Steps to change the wood bark boat. Thus, when the vessel is having no stress, check if it is defective. We will have to trim the panels to suit the size of the damage of the vessel. When changing the panels, screw nut, then hammering the part neatly around the horizontal slope. Then do the painting. This is a sucking tube. After the repair, cleaning is made successfully done. See a preview in the image. Various holes are clogged again. Wood properties used in shipbuilding. Because of each type of wood will have different specific features. The natural strength, figures of resistance to forming, and customized bending. Therefore, the type of wood used in building ships that is needed strength, or impacts a lot, such as a keel boat. Teak-and-thong wood used in shipbuilding and is used in many sections. Cage boat hull. And teak-and-thong wood is good quality hardwood, both strong and durable. The moisture of the teak-and-thong wood has 12% moisture is standard value to tell whether it is a solid hardwood or softwood. Therefore, the value of the moisture content in this moisture found in the wood. Think of it as part of the weight of dried wood does. Wood with a moisture content less than 16% is considered as dry wood, if more than 25% considered as wet wood. The normal dry wood would have strength in bending roughly 1.5 times more than that of wet wood. Maintenance of wood when the ship is left on the beam board to be repaired for a long time. The moisture in the wood is reduced, the wood shrinks until the grooves. When we make it into the grooves to caulk which found in dry condition. When launched, the ship or water deck can cause the sterle to come off, because the wood will increase pressure to push the sterle out. So what should we do while the boat is on the beam board? Clean the damp areas, such as the areas where the sunlight can't reach, such as the cage, boat corners, poles, and the edge of the deck, as it will make the wood decay. Second, maintain the roll up yash regularly check. When the line began to break, must be the chip immediately. And repeat the sterle again immediately, don't wait, because it can cause the sterle to rot. Third, if the color blister or sift in any area, scrape out before and do not paint if the color is too thick. It should be scraped off or sift out before the new paint is applied. 4 treatments of screw bolts. Nail head. When rusty, they must be cleaned to take the rust out. Then add a new sterle and don't wait. The rust will destroy and can cause corrosion. 5. Get rid of the termite and ants, which are enemies to the wood. 6. When changing of wood or repair, you should choose the same wood. Or choose a higher quality wood for replacement.